Good morning, fellow traders. Black Coffee Trader coming to you here on Friday the 13th, February the 13th, with another daily trade plan, market analysis and trade plan across the indices this morning. Got some positive feedback on the video yesterday and thought, you know what, I'm going to do this again. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to do this every single day, but here we go. Looking at the market for yesterday and the game plan we had yesterday, we were looking at this Friday high of day right here. This was really according across all the indices, the Friday high of day and also the Sunday night overnight high. And I was looking for that we were looking for that to hold for a move to the upside. That did not happen. We got further downside. The analysis also yesterday was if we lose the weekly low, to look for further downside on the market. That's exactly what happened. We really had a big sell-off yesterday, and that's actually where I capitalized all my take-profit accounts. I did take some losses up here on the Apex accounts yesterday, so the analysis was good. My execution was not quite as good across all of the accounts I traded. Now, looking at the overnight, we have literally just kind of bled sideways. And this occurs across all the markets. I'm on the NASDAQ here, by the way. But we've just kind of bled sideways. So if you look at the hourly candles on the NASDAQ this morning, you see that sellers have tried to push this down lower here in the overnight, and it has been bid back up aggressively. So doesn't mean that just automatically means we're going higher, but it does bode well for maybe buyers stepping in. The other thing that is in front of us this morning is we do have core CPI happening at 8:30, and so that is probably going to move this market in a could be in a pretty big way. Whether that's down or up remains to be seen. So if we're looking for upside, what I'm looking for today is, again, this weekly low or the Monday low. And I think really to get confident in longs for me on the NASDAQ is to get above this Monday low for a break and retest to the upside. If we can get that, I think that's good. Here's my reservation about that. The reservation to the upside is we have a quadruple top high coming in this week. So this has been a major barrier. And what's right above there is the daily 20 SMA. The daily 100, the daily 50 SMA and the daily 100 SMA. I think that's reversed. I think this is the daily 50 and this is the daily 100. But all three of the major daily SMAs are sitting right above this quadruple top ceiling. So now, while that is there, we do have a quite a good range if you go from here to here. For a nice upside trade. So not something to be scared of, but just something to be cautionary of if you get into a long here or maybe above the Wednesday low. If you get longs anywhere in here, is knowing that you're longing right into these highs to be careful of. And that's something that I would, if I was long there, I'd be looking to take profits and then looking to maybe re-enter if this move happens to be strong enough to continue to push us higher through that. That's the look on the upside. To the downside, I really think yesterday's low is the line in the sand. If we don't reclaim and move higher, if we just lose this and retest, we're probably going lower. That's I think what I'm looking for. If we can't get back above yesterday's high of day and at least give us a shot at getting above the weekly low or the Monday low in this case, I mean, this is the weekly low right now, but this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday low is what I'm looking to reclaim. If we don't do that, I would just look for further downside. Now, the other thing that is worth noting is the downside could be pretty massive. If you kind of zoom out here a little bit, you've got these major lows coming in here, major lows coming in here. You do have the daily 200 moving average, which is huge, but we've got quite a ways to go before we get there. Let me show you why I think the daily 100 or the daily 200 moving averages is so big. If you go to the daily chart, and you go out here, and I'm zoomed out here a couple of years, but we have really not fallen below the daily 200 in a very, very long time. I mean, you get back before Liberation Day last year, you get back into last springtime, February, before we had a drop, a really significant drop below the daily 200. This is the daily 200. Now, we have tested it right here. We tested it last week, and it doesn't mean we won't test it, but if we start to fall below that with any consistency there, and we hold below that level, I could see further downside. So really, I think the line in the sand for me is kind of this area on the NASDAQ around the 24,200s. If we lose that, I would expect some further downside on this market. But again, that is really, really big picture talk. But the fact that we're approaching this daily 200 and that it is somewhat within reason on our charts is something to give me a little bit of just be careful. Not really maybe more of a like being aware that it's there. And if we lose that, we probably will continue to see further downside. So that's the game plan for me on the NASDAQ this morning and today. Moving to ES, very similar picture. Very, very similar picture. We have kind of flirted and bled below the yesterday's low of day. I do think what I'm looking for here for further upside today on ES is this area where we have the lows coming in from last, let me see here, this is Monday, Friday, Thursday. Last Monday's low coming in right here. You have some overnight lows here. We did have a little wick through there. And then you have this high yesterday afternoon. This was where we had the last attempt at upside when this market tanked yesterday, where we had further downside. So I think this area right here, we need to reclaim this. If we can reclaim this, then I'll be confident looking for further upside on ES. Likewise, we do have a quadruple top high. It is not quite as pronounced as it is on the NASDAQ, but it is still here. But I would, and the other thing too is we have the daily 20 moving average to the daily 50 moving average, and we are sitting below the daily 100. So we have these big dailies, and that's the other reason you could make the case and say, okay, in the overnight, the high kind of was right in here as we bled lower. We also have an overnight high coming in from last Thursday. We have this intraday high last Thursday. Yes, this is Thursday night, Friday morning. We have that last intraday high as we bled lower on this little wick to the downside. This is also the low of day from Wednesday last week. And you could say, well, if we reclaim that, that could lead to further upside on the market. And that may be true. I could totally buy that. My caution is the daily 100 moving average sitting above price. This may be a spot to get in, but be very cautious above, and you may just have to understand there could be some trouble with that daily 100, and we may need more strength to get through it. That's why I think this is the reclaim long for me to really get aggressive to the upside. To the downside, same thing exists. If we cannot reclaim yesterday's low, I think we look for the bears to take control and push this market lower, at least for the rest of today. If you zoom out a little bit, the picture is very similar. There is some further downside. The daily 200 is way down here, but there's some further downside available, and we could see some rapid drops into some of these lows if we don't reclaim that yesterday's low of day. Moving to the Dow Jones, we definitely tumbled yesterday on the Dow Jones like everything else. And the bigger picture here, like we've been talking about, is we had the makings of pushing out of this block and starting a new block higher, kind of a stair step higher. We didn't stay there. We obviously fell back into this range. So what are we looking for a reclaim? And in my opinion, I think if we can just get above yesterday's low, which is also let's see, this is Monday, Friday, Thursday high of day. The Thursday high of day is sitting right above the daily 20. The daily 20 is sitting right here. That's a pretty big one. You've got the daily 50 sitting below price. So if we can get above that daily 20, we would also be above that Thursday high of day, and I think that gives us some upside to get into this major area right here. I think ultimately if we can reclaim that, let's go. We probably have further upside here. But if we can get above yesterday's low of day on the Dow Jones, I think it's worth a shot, and you at least would have a nice trade into this area possibly, or possibly up into this Wednesday low of day, maybe reset for further upside. But I do like that if we can reclaim. To the downside, if we lose this area right here, this little green support level that I've got marked, let's just zoom out and I'll show you what that is. There's been several reactions here, but that's really this last big high coming from back here. Oh, this is in December the 11th. We've got multiple reactions at that level kind of throughout this consolidation area. It's not a major point for me, but I do wanted to have it on my charts. But I think if we lose that, you look for further downside. You've got the daily 50, and then you've got a major level down here below. Excuse me, sorry. So that's what I'm looking for on the Dow Jones. I think it's pretty clean there. It's either A, we're going to reclaim and probably see some upside, or we just simply can't. If we lose this level, looking for further downside on the Dow Jones today. I think in between here is a little bit of uncertainty. I want the market to decide, are we above here or are we below here? And then that sets up the opportunity there. Last but not least, the Russell. I really like the Russell. I really do. I've been trading the Russell for, I'm not sure exactly, probably over a year. It's been over a year that I've been just basically trading the indices. I did trade gold for a while. Obviously, that's no longer an option with Apex and several of the prop firms. And so I just said, you know what, I'm taking it off. I've had some wins on gold, but I've also had some big losses. So I'm going to stick to the indices. That's what's working for me, and so be it. On the Russell. So the area that I've got marked in this bright red, if you noticed across some of the other, like on ES and on NQ, I kind of marked these areas of interest with a sharp red area. That's my reclaim spot. And so what I'm looking for here is I want us to reclaim this Wednesday low of day, which is where the low came in prior to yesterday. So I want us to reclaim that. That's also the Thursday high of day coming in right here before this downside. And so if we can reclaim above that for further upside, I think that's very, very good. And that would be a very confident long. You are longing right into the daily 20, and you're longing into this major level up above. However, that is a worthwhile trade to take that. So that's the look that I have on the Russell. On the downside, it's the same thing. If we lose the low from yesterday, we are sitting above it on the Russell right now. If we lose that, definitely look for further downside. I do have another level in here which corresponds with the overnight highs that we've seen. And again, kind of like we just talked about on, I think it was the Dow Jones. Nope, it was on ES. Yeah. Like we just talked about, the reason that I don't have this as my reclaim spot and what this level is this high coming in very similarly to what we saw earlier on the Dow Jones. But that's this last high that we had from back in December. I do like the fact of us reclaiming that. Let me zoom in here a little bit better. I like the fact of us reclaiming that, but again, it is below these lows that we had seen earlier this week. And I really would like to see us get here. This may be an entry. If the market is strong and we have a clean retest, this could be a worthwhile trade with kind of big picture targets there, but taking maybe most of the position off here and seeing if we can get through that for further upside, or if it, if we do this push up to here and we reject. So you have to be careful of that with this type of an entry. So for me, that's what I'm looking for. So again, big picture, there's the reclaim high. And if we lose this, we're looking for further downside. What does the downside picture look like? It's pretty similar. We do have a pretty nice trade, down into these lows here. If we happen to lose that, we could see a massive, massive slide. So that's the picture on the Russell. That's the game plan on the indices. I think the long and the short of it is the upside potential. We're really looking for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday lows to reclaim on most of the markets. To downside, if we just can't get above, or if we hold below or lose yesterday's low of day, it's looking for downside. That's a pretty clean look. Pretty simple look, and that's what we're looking for today. So, hey, hope you get some value out of this. If you do, please leave a comment below. Let me know that you either like or dislike this, or what you agree with or don't agree with. I really, really would appreciate that very much. And wish you the best of luck today. It is Friday the 13th. Let's call it the lucky 13th, and put some green on the charts today. So, take care. Have a good day, and we'll catch up with you on the next one. Take care, and so long.